Ladies and gentlemen, Eddie Marcus here again, making another post. Made some notes over the past few hours about things that are being talked about in this country that are relevant to the nation, including you, the people. And I like to share it with you. Sometimes now things can be very suspicious. You get somebody coming around your house, marking your house, talking about gas lines and electrical lines, stuff like this. You don't know what's going on. They might be marking you off for a zone. Excuse me, what they call that thing? A drone. They do that nowadays in this world that we live in. So anti-God. Well, I had made some notes about pointing a finger. You heard the expression, be careful when you point a finger at somebody, because at that same time you got three fingers pointing back at you. Well, that means that the pointer is 3 times as much responsible, possibly, as the accused or the one that they're pointing a finger at. For instance, they got an expression that goes, thou shalt not steal. Now, stealing is set in motion by what? It is set in motion by greed. For there is truly no reason, according to their plan of life, there is no reason for anyone to steal. But once greed is exercised and set in motion, then the victims, they steal to replace that which is lost. And under the heavenly plan, the victim is protected by humanly and brotherly insurance. You know, you got buy insurance, say, hellfire, this happens, you got a car, somebody steals somebody your car, it gets replaced. But you're paying money to do that. But if you're working upon a different kind of system, the system that the divine set in motion, then the things that you do from day to day in your life, in everybody's life, doesn't do anything to promote any kind of stealing. Just life and love and joy. But that's something that has not been perfected here. Nobody seems to be interested in it. Well, God made us as humans to choose our way of life. He made available all the resources, as you heard me say, gifted in individuals to participate. As it's done today, you're already doing it. Ain't no big changes except adding all of those who are unemployed to the employment list, where they're working in careers that they choose, that give them their greatest joy. You can't even beat that. Using humans as a gift to make heaven for one another. No middle idea. Ain't none of that necessary. No money. No need to buy what you own. And that deception occurred a long time ago, but you are not following it anymore. Now, that sounds really good what I just said. I know it does. But the truth of the matter is, when people say that God is invisible, you can't see God, then they step up and try to replace God. Well, there's a certain type of people, you've heard me talk about them, convince the other people of a proposal that they had, that if you put the control in their hands, or the control in the hands of a few, the control in the hands of a dictator, or the control in the hands of a minority was one of the best ways to go about it. This is what they have done in the world today, not just America. Now, they know that you have your needs, your wants, and your desires. Goods and services are absolutely necessary. So they got to find some way to make sure that you can get those things, because they're absolutely necessary again. But they have to be in control, not you, the people, moving through a spiritual thing. So they institute their little policy and come up with money. And this challenge of money. And our challenge is to expose the deception. and one that is branded on the hearts and minds of the people. Now, this is a challenge. This is absolutely a challenge. The most effective way to get a message through like that is to walk the talk. And as I said again, walking the talk until the people say, we're ready. Now, let me just tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say this, because I was going to go a long time, but I'm going to wrap it up. I have given you the message of life. It's no more wonderful than any other message that you have ever received about life. It is always the same message. I'm not the most effective man with the most beautiful way of, heavenly is God's way. And all we who come and talk to you about it, we talk about God's way as He has shown it to us. And that's what we tell you. That's the limit that we have. And we do tell you that in order for it to happen here on earth or here in this country, for all the people are going to have to agree. And all the people have to go along with it. If they don't go along with it, it's not going to happen. Now, the trick which you have not been educated on or given too much information on that you wanted to hear was that if you are born again, I think I just said this in another video, you're different. You're not going along with the democracy in America. You're not going along with whatever they got in China. You're not going along with whatever they got in North Korea. You're not going along with whatever they got on in Russia. You're going along with what? With God. And God's way is the perfect way. You're going to walk the talk. That's your lightest. Some light bulbs got 20 watts. Well, you got 20 watts. You're walking according to what you know. You might not know that much, but you're walking according to it. You might have 50 watts. There's a lot more growth to go, but you don't know that yet. But 50 watts worth, all of the darkness know it, because you walking 50 watts. You're not talking, you walking. And when you get 100 watts, they all know it. Not because you talking it, but because you walking it. Now all of these wattage, 20, 50, and 100, they all walking. That's why they lit up, because they walking. Talking ain't nothing. Talking ain't nothing but a distraction. 20 watts, walking. Now, can you see a 20-watt person? Let's just use this for a quick analogy. A 20-watt person walking. That's all they know. That's all the truth they can do. But they're walking. Now, if something happened to them, do you think they are entitled to heaven? Well, remember this now. Somebody said when they were talking about tithing, they were saying tithing a certain percentage of, and 10%. It didn't matter whether it was a dime, $10, $100, $1,000, $1 million. There was no difference. All you were able to do such and such and such with the amount. But as far as the value that's attributed to the giver, it's the same for the 10% as it is the 100%. Now, if you are over here in this wattage, just think about how much help you're doing for 20%, how much light you're giving, how much you're giving for 50%, how much you're giving for 100%. So once you know what's happening with the 20, you're excited about the 50. You're doing everything you possibly can to get to the 100. And you know, if they allowed you to live when you were in the 20%, if they allowed you to live when you were in the 50%, you know they're coming at you when you're 100%, and you are excited. Your confidence is this. God is why you're standing here right now talking to these people. And if God wants you standing tomorrow, you'll be standing. If God got a place for you someplace else tomorrow, God will have you there. And if God doesn't, it's the last thing on your mind. It's the last thing on your mind. Because if you ask me, and I don't really know, the happiest of those, the happiest would be in those that never got a chance to come out, who were never created, who never lived, who were never exposed, who never existed. Now they don't know it. But see, God had a plan to make that non-existence happy in existence. And it still is going to happen. The plan is not dead, because since the beginning of time, can you imagine, since the beginning of time to this very date right here, right now, the world has turned its back on God. The world has turned its back on God. And let me say this to you, ladies and gentlemen. There are a lot of people talking love. There are a lot of people using books about love. But they ain't loving. Because the books that they're reading and talking about also told them, don't do anything. They didn't have to do anything. And those things that they are permitted to do or taught to do doesn't affect the structure of the system. It keeps right on ripping people off, exploiting people, killing people, going to war, lying, cheating, stealing. Let me stop that dance. If you're real, it's not by the car size you got, or the size of your house, or your bank account, but it's by the size of your voice that speaks for God for every human being on the face of this earth. That's if you're real. Anything else is just BS. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and goodbye.